Hey everybody. So, I was just compelled to do a short blog post here because I was on Facebook and I saw an advertisement which was it's like it was a caricature or a cartoon image of a woman who was noticeably depressed, and the title of the ad said holiday depression is normal. Maybe you saw it. If you did, comment on that. I actually Googled that. Uh, because I saw it and then instantly, like the page refreshed and it went away. I'm like, oh, I wanted to check that out because I think that's really stupid. But it went away. So then I Googled it. I totally forgot about this. And like a lot of people did posts on it, which I think, and some of them are really aggressive. And this might be relatively aggressive as well, unapologetically, because I should be aggressively saying that's a bunch of bullshit. And it was actually an advertisement for an online counseling service. I could understand it if it was for a goddamn pharmaceutical company, but this is for a counseling service. Now, you may or may not know my background. I went from, I used to be a licensed therapist. I went to graduate school for counseling psychology, and I became a licensed therapist. And I've worked with all different kinds of populations, and I worked a ton with people who notice the air quotes on what I'm about to say, suffer from depression. Okay, so that sentence to me is bullshit. It's because it's just not true. People don't suffer from it. People experience it because they create it. Okay, this is a really important distinction to be made. So this like advertisement so right now, like today, we're smack dab in the middle of Christmas and New Year's. Okay, so this is like the holiday season, right? And they're capitalizing on that, which is effed up because with the implication in the message, which is holiday depression, like that's a thing, is normal. Hmm. Well, okay, here we go. No, it isn't. Yeah, no. First of all, yeah, holiday depression, like that's separate from any other kind of depression because it's like around the holidays, and I'm I'm alone. My loved ones have passed on, or I don't have enough money to go see my family, or I'm single during the holidays, woe is me, or any of this other nonsense. Not that any of it's not necessarily true, but your interpretation of it is weak. And it's being reinforced by a multitude of sources, including bullshit ads like these, and of course, all the commercials on pharmaceuticals and blah, 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 that would continue to have us believe, for those people's profit, that we are not actually in control of our states and that things like depression happen to us. So the lie is that depression is normal, whether it's holiday or any other unholiday depression. All depression is not normal. In fact, it's the opposite of normal. So we're going to call it an aberration. Now, normal is when you're not thinking, when you have no thoughts, then you know what's normal? Peace, serenity, lightness of being. Hmm. Yeah, that's normal. That's like unadulterated reality. Depression and all, anxiety and all that shit, that happens when we screw up normal with crappy thinking. And that's really good news. Okay, so a clarification point or a distinction I want to make abundantly clear here is that, like, you're not full of shit. It's the thoughts that you're believing are nonsense. Okay, so I don't want to invalidate anybody. Like, if you're watching this and you are depressed or you have bouts of depression, I want to pump you up right now by having you not believe that that's normal. In fact, you're normal. You're normal, right? But what you thinking your way into a depressed low grade state doesn't have to be your norm. You can actually look at that as abnormal, and you're going to abolish it, right? And the practice is to rewire your neural network. We are our own biopharmacy. Okay, we release the chemicals that we need to feel amazing with our thinking. All right, so let's do an experiment that'll simply illustrate what I'm pointing out here is that we always have the ability, okay, to manipulate our states. We have absolute total access always to every single possible state. So if I'm feeling depressed, it's not happening to me. It's not descending upon me like acid rain and enveloping me. No, I'm creating it with my interpretations or the way that I'm thinking about reality in those moments. And I may have some really strong, really familiar thinking habits, right? That would have me feel depressed all the time. But that's okay because you know what? Those aren't actually strong habits. They're just habits and they're fragile. All habits, thinking habits, super fragile. You can rewire your neurobiology very simply, seriously, with alternative thought, content, repetition. Seriously, that's it. Let's do an experiment. I want you to think of something that happened in your life that you would identify as truly, or that you could identify as tragic. Take a moment right now and recall an event that you would identify, or you could at least identify as really tragic in your life. Something, it doesn't matter if it's recent or distant past. Right? And just for a moment, let yourself really re-experience that. Go back and really fully experience that in your mind's eye. And as you do that, notice the emotional state that instantly accompanies that particular choice, that unique, distinct choice of thought content or that memory. Now we're going to change channels, okay? Just like on TV, you're going to change channels on the remote. Now think of an event that happened in your life that was absolutely hysterical, something totally hilarious, right? And really re-experience that one now. Go back in your mind's eye and fully experience that. Fill your mind with that. And as you do, notice the completely unique and distinct state that instantaneously accompanies that particular choice of thought content. Notice my language there. All right, so what's okay? Duh, right? What's the difference? The first one that when you were thinking of the tragic thing, you created instantaneously. If you were able to really fully experience that in your mind's eye, then you were experiencing low grade states, whether it was anguish or sadness or fear or desperation or any of the low grades, really low grade states, right? Like depression, right? Then when you changed the channel and you upgraded by choosing to fill your mind, these are operative words. You chose then to fill your mind with content that you thought was funny, right? That was amusing, that had you feel right in the mood then that accompanied that particular thought memory, or rather thought content, was levity. So you went from dark to light. You virtually traveled like a vast expanse of the entire human emotional highway, and you did it in a moment. You altered your state in a moment by simply changing the content of your mind. That's unbelievably powerful. What if you do that all day? You know what? I'll tell you what happens. You rewire your neural network. You have joy become your default position. You change the way that you spontaneously react to reality, from problematic to opportunistic, from depression to enthusiasm. And it takes practice, and it takes tons of practice, but that's an amazingly intelligent practice. So don't buy this bullshit. When you see things like on Facebook advertisements, even from counseling services, like that suggests, that reinforce the victimy thinking that like that depression just happens to, well, it runs in my family, it just happens to, fuck that. That's nonsense. Challenge all that, okay? Or when you see these commercials on TV from big pharma, say nonsense. And I'm not talking about like acute ailments like broken legs and stuff. I'm talking about we're talking about depression here, okay? And depression, I am proud to say that I've coached a lot of people off of medication, right? Off of depression medication. because we create our meds. Okay, we have a pharmacy in our minds, and we have the chemicals. We are our mind, our brains are capable of creating the chemicals, dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters that have us feel great and be great. But we have to get into the habit of practicing, thinking our way into those, activating those chemicals, right? With practice. Okay, so it's that simple. So there's that experiment. That's your practice. That's my suggestion for you, is to practice elevating the way that you're thinking all day, every day. All right, happy holidays. Chances are that you're not watching this during the holidays. This isn't about the holidays. This is about being a thought warrior. All right, create miracles.